Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aldas and today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Red Bull for 2020, the RB16. Red Bull have released both renders and proper, really high quality images of the car, and also, as we speak right now, they are having a shakedown session for the car in Silverstone. This is the first time we've actually seen pictures of a 2020 car on track, and the pictures are literally coming out as I'm recording this, so hopefully we do have some nice shots of the car on track. Anyway guys, let's get straight into it. So let's take a look at the brand new livery for 2020. Now, as you guys can obviously tell, there has not been too much of a difference. In fact, it is literally the same livery as we had last year. They have stuck with their matte design, with obviously that they've had actually since 2016. That was the first year where they released the matte design. And as usual, a bunch of fans on Twitter are moaning the fact that, oh my god, Red Bull looks exactly the same. But what you've got to understand, there's two things really. Number one, Red Bull are an advertisement for their brand. So they're always going to have a very similar livery. And number two, don't be surprised if a bunch of the teams during 2020 have the same livery, because 2021 is the big rule change. It's the new era. That's where they're perhaps going to have the brand new livery, try to almost relaunch their team. So do not be surprised and don't get your hopes up about teams changing their liveries for this year, because it's just not going to happen and there's no point. Case in point, I mean, obviously for Red Bull, they're still sponsored by Aston Martin, but they won't be for next year. So there's no point of switching their liveries now whilst they're still got the same sponsor, because they, of course, sponsors pay big amounts of money to have their stickers and their logos on very specific and in very kind of specific sizes as well. So yeah, don't be too surprised about the livery. It's still the classic Red Bull livery. I still like it, to be honest, guys. I have nothing against it. I think it looks really good. I have noticed that some of the logos are a little bit different size. The Honda logo, just kind of where the nose sort of ends, yeah, that has been increased in size compared to last year. So I don't know, I just find that kind of funny that they've increased the size of the Honda logo. So clearly they're very proud, which is great to see. But other than that, yeah, there's not too much to say about the livery. I'm just going to leave it there. I like it. It's the classic livery. I don't have anything against it. I liked when they switched to the matte in 2016, and I still like it now that they've kept it. In terms of the aerodynamics for this car and what I can see has changed, and again guys, I'm not an aerodynamicist, so don't at me in the comments, I'm just talking from a fan's perspective. The one word I would use to describe this car, skinny. This car has been, I don't know whether it's been on a diet, I don't know what they've done to it, but definitely some parts of this car have either been made a little bit smaller or again, they've just been kind of shrunk in a little bit. So yeah, that's definitely something that is apparent to me. Now, starting all the way at the front wing, in terms of the nose, that's gone a lot more intricate. There's a lot more gaps and slots to channel air through the car. They've still got the sort of S duct where you can see just at the end of the nose, where sometimes obviously if the nose breaks they replace it, and they have kept the horns as well. That's literally not been changed since last year. They added those horns, I think maybe at the start of last season. It was something they added after testing, so yeah, that has not changed. But certainly that nose, there's a lot more gaps, there's a lot more spaces for air to go through, and it's something that I think McLaren really started back in 2018 with a design that really did not help them, but it's something that a lot of teams have actually kind of added onto their noses, a lot more gaps and stuff like that. We've seen obviously Ferrari have kind of a few little tunnels into the nostrils, so yeah, it's definitely a part of the car that the teams have been working very heavily on. Just actually below the nose, you can see that piece of carbon fiber that doesn't have any blue or yellow on it. That's also been increased actually, again, to channel more air into that barge board. And on top of all of that, I've also noticed that the nose itself has also been made a little bit thinner, a little bit skinnier, certainly compared to last year's car. And to be honest, in terms of the barge board itself, and I'm looking at pictures from last year that I'll put up on the screen, not too much has changed, although at the same time, Red Bull really did have a sound car towards the end of 2019. It's just that they didn't have that car at the start of the season. It's something I talked about so much, and certainly in preseason as well, that Red Bull need to have a good car from day one. And this car is absolutely an evolution of last year's car, and you can see that on the barge board especially. I mean, going from left to right, they've still got the same kind of little, I don't know what they're really called to me, it's like gills. You can see multiple of them, the two boomerangs below it, and to the side the two pieces of carbon fiber that all work together to obviously create that barge board. That is pretty much the same as last year, but I'm sure there are little changes inside that we can't quite see. Again, there is going to be a bunch of things that they're going to add for preseason testing, so we haven't been able to see the entire car. No doubt the teams will come with new designs and perhaps will make a few little changes there and there, but yeah, in terms of the barge board, certainly very similar to last year. But the really big thing that absolutely has shocked me is look at those side pods. That is Unbelievable that Red Bull yet again have made the car even skinnier. Again, I'll put up pictures of last year's car towards the end of the season, and you can kind of see in last year's car, you can follow the red line above the word Red Bull, and it does look like it's a little bit curved in, so you can see that they've tried to shrunk it in. But this year, look at that bodywork. It is literally just completely over the radiator and nothing else. They have left nothing to spare. There's literally, it's incredible how Adrian Newey, every single season, I look at that car and think it cannot get any skinnier. But this year, 2019, this RB16 has got to be the skinniest Formula 1 car I've ever seen. I'm stunned. I keep looking at that side pod, and I promise I'll stop talking about it, guys, but I'm constantly surprised and amazed by the work that Adrian Newey and all of the Red Bull aerodynamics department does. I hope it just doesn't affect the power unit and the cooling side, but I have no doubt that they have worked very closely with, of course, Honda to make sure everything works as it should. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of the aerodynamics, that's all I'm going to really talk about. The really big changes, that's the front wing, and just the packaging at the rear of the car, the way it's sculpted around the radiators and the power unit. Yeah, it's incredible what Red Bull, once again, Adrian Newey has just knocked it out of the ballpark, but hopefully this car will be quick from day one, because that is exactly what Max Verstappen needs to challenge for the 2020 world title. So that's my thoughts on both the aerodynamics and the livery as well. Again, I'm not an aerodynamicist. I'm sure when Ara launches his video, I'm really looking forward to seeing that actually. He will have a much more in-depth explanation of the aero changes for 2020. Now I want to take a really quick look at, ahead actually at the Red Bull season for 2020, because it's going to be a big year. I have made it no secret on my channel that I think this could be Red Bull's year. I have said that, and even made a video actually, that they have no more excuses for 2020. They have the car clearly that has been even further developed compared to last year, and it was a really good car, as I said. They have the team principal who manages their drivers quite well. I think Christian Horner does a fantastic job, and it's not always easy because Red Bull has had some fiery characters. They have a driver in Max Verstappen that is championship quality. This guy is now ready. He is almost the complete package. He is ready to challenge for championships, and they need to start doing it in 2020. There is no more excuses. There's no more crying at Mercedes for having a better car every single year. I think their only weak point is Alex Albon, but again, the guy is in his second year, and what he was able to do when he was put in that car is incredible. I think the way he managed the pressure was just almost phenomenal. I really did not expect him to do as well as he did. He matched Max Verstappen's time in qualifying in Suzuka of all places, so clearly he's got quality pace, and then he almost scored a podium in Brazil had it not been for Lewis Hamilton. So for Alexander Albon, it's all about developing even further and backing Max Verstappen, because that's what Max was really lacking in 2019. If you remember in Hungary, if Max had a number 2 driver that was right there with him in second place or in third place, Lewis Hamilton wouldn't have been able to do that kind of alternative strategy and catch him up, and Max would have had the win. So that is the power of having a very good teammate beside you, and that is what Red Bull need to make sure that they make Alex Albon feel comfortable, that he develops at a very good pace and starts to give more support to Max Verstappen to the point where they can actually work together to hopefully win the 2020 title. Will it be Red Bull's year? I really do hope so, because I really like this team from top to bottom. From the guys who do the pit stops, they have the best pit crew in Formula 1. They have great designers, great drivers, as I said, great management as well. So hopefully this year they can have a proper fight for the championship up against Ferrari and Mercedes as well. Anyway guys, there you go. That is my video on the brand new Red Bull. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.